dating somebody, right? Should you be on a dating app?
Not on a dating app, no.
Okay, perfect. So do you know, right? Instagram is one of the biggest dating apps in the world.
Yeah, I get that, but it's also an app where people like to share other things. It's not all just thirst traps, right? So you know, if you're in a relationship, not every girl is posting a picture of herself in a bikini. So
here's the problem,
aren't they?
No.
If there's two scenarios here.
What's funny is when I did this yesterday, I'm like, okay, everybody stop. Go to Instagram and look at all the girls you follow on Instagram and see if they're in bikinis. You know, it's like one after the next.
Right? A guy posts a picture of himself, let's say abs, shirtless, right?
Yeah.
He gets attention. A girl posts a picture or a story or a post, right? She gets attention.
Yeah.
The problem is that attention is way outskilled and it's gonna be sexual because off rip, what do guys want? They want to look at pictures and take a shot at the girl. That's it. Girls, man, say, oh, he's cute, he's handsome, but they're not going to really approach him like, oh, I want you. It's like, okay, cute, hard eyes, and that's it. Girls are going to go after it like in a different way, we're saying.
And also, we're specifying that when she has sexy photos of herself on the internet and she's in a relationship, that is cheating. That is disrespectful to the man.
Okay, what if the guy is posting a shirtless top and he's in a relationship? Is that cheating?
You know, so yeah, you'll notice that the first thing they go back to is like, ooh, men do it too, right? It's always a reframe of like this want for a sort of an intersexual balance. You know, men and women are, because just by her saying that, well, what if a man does it? Then you're saying that men and women are the same. Just even the thought of thinking like, okay, well, you know, what about this guy? What about you? What if you're going to talk about women? You got to talk about men. No, we're talking about women in this case. And I think that if they had just addressed it from a statistical standpoint, that would have been a very good idea. The other part would be because they can't really argue against the stats. And then, exactly. And then get back to genuine desire. Why is it so important? And you could put it on her too. Why is it so important for women to keep that sexual advertising going? And again, as I said before, at no other time in human history have we had the ability, or have women had the ability to get attention on this scale. And so when you here's probably a better question for you for the ladies here is why do you suppose it is so important for women, you know, either attached or unattached, to fight tooth and nail to want to keep their Instagram even after they've either got married or they're in a relationship?
Well, your girlfriends are going to think you're a loser. If you get rid of your Instagram for your man, then there's something wrong with you. Like, why would you do that? It's like a betrayal to the sisterhood, if that makes sense. And that's what women don't like the most. It's like I said, girlfriends aren't real. So if you want to get along with other women, you kind of have to have a feminist predisposition. Because otherwise you rustle too many feathers. They just like don't want to be your friend. That's all it's about. Like, women, just drop your girlfriends. Like, you don't need them. Like, go get you a man. Forget them.
I gotta introduce Torsia to Mackenzie at some point.
She made a fantastic point earlier. She makes good points in the chat there.
Yeah. She's very smart. And by the way, she's also married, and I believe she's 25, Mackenzie, 26 maybe.
Oh yeah, she made her bet.
You guys, I have a perspective here on that, but and I learned this from the Red Pill movement, was women always have a backup plan. And I think that is definitely taking their potential backup plans away. I've been talking to my sisters and some other women about this, and they're like, no, I don't have a backup plan. And I'm like, no, you have the guy. Even whether you're in touch with them or not, you know who you would approach if something happened to your relationship. And every single one of them agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's brand identity. I think that's what it is. I think it's a sense of identity now.
Yeah, that too.
It's like we're Cyclops. What is it called? Or cyborgs. I forget which one it is, where your phone is literally you. Like, we're cyborgs.
Yeah, you are your own brand. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you take away a part of that for a guy that hasn't given you just a relationship, maybe you're married. It's like women are like, how dare you?
I got another. Maybe this is a question for Tori. Remember when we were on Adam Sosnick's show and we were talking about the soft launch?
Oh my gosh! It was. You guys both shook me.
Why is that a thing? I had no idea that there was
the wrong person.
I knew it was a thing. I just didn't know it had a name or a term for it.
I'm sure it's equivalent to a woman that wants to post her actual boyfriend to show that she is picked, kind of like an engagement ring. Like, I am picked. So if she soft launches, this is the only thing I could conceptualize. If she soft launches, it tells all the other guys, ex-boyfriends, here, I'm not necessarily tied down, but somebody wants to. That's the only thing I could come up with.
So how would you, are you guys familiar with the soft launch?
Yeah. It's so weird.
Okay. You know, so tell us what a soft launch is, Tori.
It's where, correct me if I'm wrong, it's you could be out with a guy, but you take a picture of both of your plates of food, but you don't necessarily show the guy. And if you do, it's like his hand. And it's just like an intro. It's so weird. I think it's strange. That's right?
I see it as, so basically what it is like if you're on your social media, in this case Instagram, you're just showing your hand, like holding another guy's hand at the beach. And really what it is it's in some ways I think it's so the soft launch is like you don't want to show him because you're going to lose market capital as a woman if you do that. Meaning that if you show the guy straight off the rip and say, here's my new boyfriend, we're official right now, that's different than if you're trying to sort of generate attention from your girlfriends going, oh, whose hand is that? Whose foot is that? Who's, where are you eating this? Or like you're saying, if it's a plate of food and you're just showing him from the waist, you don't show the face, it's just from like the waist or the chest up kind of thing. And you're on a date or something that's going to generate like interest and buzz and you're going to get a high off of that from social media. However, why not simply just put the guy on there and delete off all of your sexy pictures from Instagram? We talked about that on Fresh and Fit, like at the after hours thing. But I was going to say is that, so why would something like that exist if it weren't that women were like, they didn't want to make it official and they didn't want to lose what I've said in the past is like market capital. And I mean that in the terms of like sexual market value. So if dating is brand management in the 21st century, then putting your face on there with a new guy, you lose capital because what happens is the guys, your male orbiters or whatever, and if your ego is measured, like I said, in views and in subscription and subs and everything else and likes, whatever you want to call it, and you lose that as a result of posting that guy's picture on there. Of course, there's going to be such a thing as a soft launch, but also it sort of says, I don't know that this guy is actually the real guy. I don't know. I'm not so confident enough that I want to get with this guy. What Mackenzie was just talking about a minute ago, which is like, if you're really into him, then the attraction's there and you're going to want to show him off.
I don't know if certain guys understand there's a difference between her bragging about you and bragging about the fact that she's simply been chosen almost for clout in a way.
I think women are just more like men now. So it's pre-selection in the way that a man would do it. That's the way that I see it. It's like, look, I'm going out and trying to pick up women with girls. Because I tell guys all the time, if you post your girlfriend, you will get way more DMs from girls. It's a thing. So I think women just swap the roles with dudes. That's the way I see it.
The social proof thing, like she said.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. It's like it's a last ditch effort, right? So it's a soft launch, like we're not too serious. So if you wanna swipe me from him, like we could probably work something out like that. That's what I think. It's that hypergamous doubt.
Hypergamy's a bitch.
I just showed the whole.
Here's a good question: is a soft launch some weird form of social proof for women?
I think so.
Yep.
You think so?
It's exactly what it is, right?
Okay, so I would say it's half and half. I think you're correct, but I think there's also the element of I don't want to lose market capital. I don't like it's like a guy putting on if a woman has a wedding ring on, right? Then you go, okay, well, I'm going to stay away from that. Or if a woman gives you like the boyfriend disclaimer when you're like talking her up or something like that, it's sort of like I've got a boyfriend, me and my boyfriend, when we were at the beach the other day, like we were inserting it into like casual conversation. It's very similar, I think, at least in mental terms of like saying, okay, I'm not available to you. Whereas like when you're doing a soft launch, you don't want to commit just to this one guy, but you want to say, hey, I'm sort of, you still want the attention, or maybe things are going to happen, rather than putting that guy immediately into your feed. Now, my last question was this, so if Fresh and Fit and the rest of these guys are talking about like how a woman not taking her sexy pictures off of Instagram is a form of cheating. What about this? and I know how they would answer it, but I'm going to ask you guys this is, what if you get with a guy and he has an Instagram as well, and he's got pictures of his ex where he's with all the time, or he's hanging out with girls and stuff. Would you want him, or would you expect him, maybe not ask him, but would you expect him to delete those pictures? Would you expect him to want to sort of like, if you were into her still, then why is her picture still on your Instagram? If you're into her and not into me, would there be a difference, let's say, for a guy? Because I think the Jackie here screwed things up. She's like, well, what about guys who put on, they go shirtless on their Instagram? That's not analogous. I think what's analogous is if that guy still has his ex in his Instagram, if he still has like his old party pictures where he's like hanging out with strippers and eating wings at Hooters or some shit like that, right? Where he's with a lot of women and he doesn't take those off of there. Would it be the same effect as a woman not wanting to take off her pictures on Instagram?
I think that guys are ready to delete that stuff before the relationship's done. So I don't know. I've never thought about it. Yeah. I don't look or stalk my ex's profile, and I don't remember ever looking at that. The guys are boring, but would it? Probably. I guess it's the same. No? Yeah. I don't know.
Like if you were with a guy, would you, if let's just say you're with him for like 3 months and he didn't put your picture on there, if he was doing a soft launch, would that be different?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't look at that stuff. I really don't care. Yeah.
Well, because you're single and I know Sarah's single. So like if
I get posted all the time. Are you kidding? I'm fun.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah. So I never had to think about it.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just wondering if there's something analogous to that. Like if the guy still has his pictures up, let's just say you've been with this guy sort of exclusively for like 2 or 3 months, and he hasn't put one picture of you on his Instagram or made it official in any way on social media. Is that the same as asking a woman to take off her Instagram pics?
Man, I did get all butthurt when my husband or my ex-husband wasn't putting enough pictures of me up on his Instagram, but he was putting up pictures of a wedding we went to or something like that. So I'm trying to put this into perspective.
Yeah, like do guys post?
I mean, I don't think men are on social media as much as women, unless they have like a business platform. They make a living off of it, so yeah. Yeah, what I would say is like there's kind of a difference, right? So taking the pictures with the strippers, like mildly annoying, but I don't really feel in competition with them, I don't think. Also, like how hot is the ex that he posted? Because if I'm hotter than her, then like I'm okay with us being on the same timeline. But the other thing about it is like, is he spending money on these women? Right? Like I feel like I care more about that. Yeah, like the providing resources. Is he emotionally invested in these women? Like I think that would be more offensive. But I will say the only time I've gotten irritated about old pictures was because I went snooping, wanted to figure out what my man had dealt with. And I found like the hottest like 45-year-old woman of all time. And that bothered me for a while. So I never went back in. I was like, forget it. Like this is
She's post-wall. She's post-wall queen.
Post-wall and hot.
So?
Trust me, Tom's happy to be with you.
Thank you.
I get that vibe anyways. Most definitely. No, the reason I want to throw that out, you're bringing up another point, Allie, is that like women get jealous for different reasons than guys do. Mm-hmm. And you have to remember that I think that in getting pissed off at a guy expecting a woman to delete her pictures from Instagram, it's a form of mate guarding, really is what it is for guys. It's like
I thought about that too.
Yeah. I said this on remember Torsia, remember when we were on Saucecast and we were talking about Gary V and how he didn't post any pictures of his wife on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Then when they were getting divorced, now suddenly this hot piece of ass that he's with, I forget her name, but like she's that girl would never be with a guy like Gary V were he not Gary V, right? But here now suddenly he's like, now she's arm candy, right? Now he wants to put that out there. And so like you got to remember that the reason why women get jealous is because of emotional investment versus like guys are like, I don't want other guys thinking that you're available, because when Myron and Fresh say, yeah, that's a form of cheating, really the cheating aspect of it is it's a mate guarding instinct. It's a want to know that this bitch is mine, right? It's like I said this before. It's like all men love sluts. They just want them to be their slut.
Your slut, yeah.
Be my slut. You know, I want you to be as dirty a dirty bitch as you can be, but just for this guy. That's all I want out of you. You know, is some loyalty and some duty and stuff like that. But it's like I think even Allie was, when you were looking for, you go snooping and everything. It's like, is he still in love with her? That's different than is she bang, or does she want to bang some other guy? And so men tend to focus on the sexual aspect of infidelity, whereas women tend to focus on the emotional investment. Like, are you in love with her? Because it represents a loss of resource and a loss of investment on that woman's part. Whereas for men, the infidelity is very visceral, because it's like, I can't trust this bitch because I don't know if the baby comes out of her is going to be my baby.
Well, you're trying to find an equivalent to a man asking a woman to take her Instagram down, right? Is there a female concern, a parallel? Is there a female concern parallel for that? And I do agree that a man having shirtless pictures is not the female parallel, because it's not that being in good shape doesn't lead to opportunity, but it's not quite the same thing. It's not quite the same of a peacock for men. You know, I'm in good shape. Does it increase my opportunity? Sure, but it does not necessarily mean like women come running. Whereas we understand that if a woman posts a thirst trap, they're literally, it's almost like them coming to your virtual door. They're coming to the DMs. They're actually seeking after you. So it's a peacock, which is a mating strategy. That's the issue with it. Correct? Am I on the ball with that, Rolo?
I think so. I think so. It's advertisement is what it is. It's sexually advertising yourself. It's like you're constantly in the club. Like
which is a mating. It's kind of a mating strategy, right? So I don't think people understand. You're actually viewing this as a mating strategy. It is a mating strategy. So you're taking issue with the person that's in a relationship having a mating strategy more so than it just being like, oh, it's just a picture. It's just my life. Go ahead, Allie.
I think I found an equivalent. So it's like the equivalent of asking a woman to take down her Instagram is like, let's say your man has, you know, just girlfriends, right? You're not in sexual competition with them at all. Or he's got like female coworkers, but he's emotionally available to them. Like they can call and he takes the call when you're in the middle of something. Like you could be watching a movie and you're like, why are you giving this heifer emotional support? So like the conversation would be like, no, you have to understand that there's boundaries between men and women, and these women are using your attention, and I don't like that. So I think that would be the equivalent of asking a woman to take down her Instagram.
Yeah, that's good. I was actually just trying to figure the same thing. I was just trying to figure what is worse for a man to have on his Instagram. Is it my abs or is it my lifestyle? Because women think differently than men. So while we're purely visual, we're like, wow, that's what I would get in bed if she hopped into bed with me. When a woman looks at a man's Instagram, is it really just like, okay, there's a bunch of short, jacked Italian dudes in the world. I'm not necessarily getting ahead with that. But what about my lifestyle? What about her being able to put herself in those pictures, in a sense that like, I mess around with this dude and I'm flying here and there, and I could wind up, you know, on a set with 100 people, or I could wind up at live stage performances, or we could be going on vacations, etc. So I think of it like that. How about lifestyle versus
resources? Yeah, isn't that the same?
Well, how about it for a male peacock? Is, you know, you got the guys that post thirst traps or thirst traps and lifestyle pictures, but lifestyle is almost a bigger flex for men, because a woman can actually put herself in that position, like mentally, when she's looking at it, versus just like, okay, he has abs, fantastic, he did crunches.
I thought peacocking was having something strange and out there, like attire, to get the girl to like ask about it or something.
It's signals. It's a costly signals is really what peacocking.
Are you talking about like in terms of like pair bonding, like where they had the weird feathers?
Well, it depends. Okay, so again, there's a whole section of this in my latest book about peacocking. I get into the nuts and bolts with respect to evolutionary psychology. Now, what is peacock's feathers? Well, that's the male peacock spreading his feathers so that he can attract a male or a female peahen, right? Yeah. And what it is, the problem with it is that, or this is the theory anyways, is that by having that big fan of tails, it says, I am a badass peacock. You want to mate with me and you'll have badass peacocks as well, right? So what it is that the tail represents a costly signal that's really impossible to fake for a high testosterone, a high value peacock, right, would only be able to have this really ornate fan of feathers, because it makes them vulnerable to predators. He can't fight as well, and it also means you can dominate other lesser peacocks because you have bigger tails and And what it is a costly signal, meaning that I have a high value to you, or high reproductive value to you, because I have this. So when you carry that over into sort of like human societies, it could be your abs. It could be that you're jacked and juicy as fuck, right? And that could be I said in the book, I said the highest form of peacocking is having a great physique as a guy, especially now, because most guys do not have an elite level physique. So that's number one. Or it could be that you have a Lamborghini, or it could be that you have very expensive like sunglasses. There's something about you that
Tinder guy.
I think it was God Sod who wrote the whole thing about what is it? What is it? It's costly signaling, but it's also what is it? Observable something or other. I can't remember. Anyways,
I think I know what you're saying. Yeah. So Tom, he has an Audi R8. He saved for a decade for it. I don't mind when he lets kids in the car for pictures.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I don't mind when he has kids in the car. I don't mind when he has like average looking women sit in the car and take pictures, but I think I would be very pissed if he was to let like a bimbo in the car. I think that would drive me nuts. I don't think I would enjoy that.
Yeah, because you'd be concerned about loss of investment in your relationship with him. Like you're married him, you're committed to this guy. You took the chance, like you said. I took the leap of faith here, and I'm going to be with this guy, and that's how things are going to work out. So if he betrays that trust, it's not just a betrayal of trust. It's also opportunity cost, right? It's a loss of investment, and that's really where the jealousy sort of comes. And so that's why I say when we're talking about like, do women have power over men? That's where women try to ensure themselves in a relationship. Well, if the shit hits the fan, I got my business. I know I'm okay. I've got the money here. I'm a strong, independent woman. And if he's not making more money than I am, if he's not somebody I can look up to and admire, if he has, looks, money, muscles, money game, like that, if he's not the apex of that, it's okay, because I've already got my shit taken care of. And even if I don't, I have the perception that I have my shit taken care of. So that's I think is one of the reasons why women don't want to let themselves give men authority, or want to. I hate to use the term submit, because I don't think it's really submission. I think it's like to have genuine desire to the point where they're willing to take the chance on a guy, on men in general, that they've been taught for most of their lives that they should never trust. He's either ridiculous, or he's incompetent, or he's a borderline. He could be abusive. And that's where Jackie O goes in here. Like, well, you possessive cavemen from the 1950s, you just want to domineer over women, and you want to turn us into your slave girls or something like that, and send us back to, I don't know, put us back into bondage, back in, like Hebrews of Egypt or some shit like that. And it's like, no, that's not where this is going. But it's the want for that. It's the desire to want to actually be with that guy. There's difference in being obligated to submit, and that's really where the conversation is here, and the desire to want to submit. And that's, I said this, and I said this on Fresh and Fit. I said this on my show on Sundays. I don't want, and I don't think men should really want, a woman who doesn't have the desire to submit, right? I want to be Ryan Gosling, right? And I want you to be Eva Mendes. I want to be the guy whose babies you want to have, and you will sacrifice, and you'll put it all on the line and take the chance, because you go, that's the guy. That's the guy that says, like, that silences the hypergamous doubt, which is, is he the best I can do? I don't want to say, please delete all your pictures off of Instagram. That conversation should never happen. Similarly, I don't want to say, you're taking my last name, bitch. I'm not that. I don't want that, because that conversation should never even take place. If I'm Ryan Gosling and you're Eva Mendes, okay, that will never take place, because it's already a given that you're going to take my last name, which, by the way, we're toying around with right now. I think over in Italy or something like that. We're crushing the patriarchy by making women have the option not to take a man's last name if they don't want to, in a Catholic country, by the way. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm going, first of all, it's removing the man, but also it's like, why wouldn't you want to? Because you don't trust the guy. because you're so self-empowered and so entitled and so hubristic, and you're the only one you can trust. Well, if that's the case, then why ever get married? Why ever get into a long-term relationship if that's the case? Why even bother?